Good morning, everybody. Welcome to week 37 of the PB Sports Talk Show. Good to be with you. Got a lot of great stuff to cover today, a lot to unpack, and let's get right to it. First and foremost, you see in the background here is a little bit different backdrop, as free throws is going to be a semi-theme of the show. Free throws and we go way back, and I'll explain that as we go. Pop up what we're going to go through today, and let me grab this up here. All right, so we'll recap Game 4 last night, OKC in Indiana. The art of free throws, or the lost art of free throws, you see right below that. It was actually relevant to last night's game. We'll go over that. Lions fans, what re-signing it looks like. They're going to re-sign J-Mo, what that means for the Lions and others on the team. Pistons, draft time coming up. Lots of trade talk, all kinds of conversation on X about should the Pistons go get Kevin Durant. No. Raiders, expect huge things from them. Everybody knows they're number 2 for me, second most favorite team, number 2 to the Lions. So we'll go over that. The Tigers, basically the best record in baseball. Who's better for the Tigers, or who was better for the Tigers? Jim Leyland, back in the day, 2 World Series appearances, or AJ Hinch, who came in with a World Series victory, now with the Tigers, 45-25, I believe is their record. And we'll go over a number of other things. But first and foremost, we're going to get back to the opening segment of PB for 3. Be 3 minutes on a hard-hitting topic. And I just got to say, those who follow me know that I'm a big entrepreneur guy, big business guy. I've been in sales, marketing, and entrepreneurship basically for my entire life. Follow all the sports companies and what they do, obviously how it relates to athletes and such. And one of the most wild things that I have ever seen in the history of my life, to the degree that I could understand these things, is I'm just blown away. The number 1 shoe company in the world, sports shoe company in the world, Nike, as you could see on the screen there, and their famous line, "Just do it." And you see I put already under it, because the number 1 most marketable athlete in the world today commands social media every single day. It is mind-blowing. She does not yet have her own shoe. Does this make any sense, people? She has apparently a contract with Nike, but she does not have her own signature shoe. Whereas people like Angel Reese, who sponsored a sponsorship deal with Reebok, has her own shoe. How is this possible? Wilson, as you could see on the screen there, they just dropped a commercial within the last week. You can actually see that on my YouTube channel. Log on, please follow and subscribe to my channel there at PB Sports Talk. Wilson has a collection, I believe, not just one. As you can see, that's one of them right there. It has her name on it. I believe there are a couple, maybe 3 basketballs for Caitlin Clark. How could Wilson, the number 2 basketball brand in basketball, second to Spalding, have enough common sense to have her own signature basketball, right? That's what you shoot. That's what you dribble. But you need to run on something, right? So Caitlin Clark wears Nike shoes. Everybody knows that. Doesn't have her own Caitlin Clark shoe. There has to be a reason. I don't know what that is. I can't figure out a reason. I've thought about this. I've actually spoke about it. I've tried to figure this out. I can't figure it out. Maybe somebody out there knows. Hit me up right on the screen here in the comment section. If you know why this girl does not have, or lady does not have her own shoe, let me know. I absolutely want to know how that is even possible. I can't ascertain why. All right, last night, Game 4. There's some people that believe a Game 3 is a swing game. Some people believe a Game 4 is a swing game. There were a lot of people, and I happen to agree, whoever won last night's game would win the series. OKC, heavy favorite coming into the series. Hey, the Pacers, resilient. They are very well coached. Rick Carlisle, as a person who 52 years of my life lived in Detroit, very familiar with Rick Carlisle, as he used to be a coach of the Detroit Pistons. Basically, he's unsung, to be honest with you. He's underrated. He's done a lot of great things over his career, and he's doing it now with Indiana. And he's got them in the finals, 2-2. Hey, if you're an Indiana fan and you started at the beginning of the year and you said, hey, if I could sign up right now to be in the finals against the OKC Thunder, with arguably the best player in basketball in Shea, would you sign up for that? Of course you would, right? 2-2 going back to OKC. So it's best 2 out of 3, and OKC regains their home court advantage. So last night I was on X and I said there was no way I could see Indiana winning the game. I said the Thunder would win by 6. They won by 7, 111-104. So I was pretty much smack dab on that. And there's a number of reasons why. Obviously, they're very, very talented, as you can see on the screen there. 54 double-digit wins over the season, 68 total, 68 and 14 total for the season. So obviously, they're a very good team. That's not a secret. So look at the guy here, number 0, and I'm going to focus in on him again. Sorry, I got to do it. And, people say, I'm trolling, I'm hating, I'm all of this, I'm all of that. The bottom line is what the bottom line is, folks. He's an every other game kind of guy. The Indiana Pacers need him to step up and take control of the game in, game out, every single second of every single minute that he's on the floor. That does not mean shoot the ball 40 times a game. That's not what I'm saying. He shot 15, I need to double check, 1 for 7 from three-point land. He had 15 shots total, 7 of which were three-pointers. Why Tyrese Halliburton? Are you shooting 7 three-pointers? That is not the basis of your game. It isn't the framework of your game. Sure, if you're wide open and an opportunity presents itself and you hit it, I got it. He's made a couple of three-point shots this season to win a game. That does not mean you stand there and you take them. You have the ability to put the ball on the floor. You have the ability to get to the rack and get others involved if everybody collapses on you, which is likely to happen. His assists per game is obviously where it is, and that's good. But he does not yet know how to take over a game, folks. And until that happens, and I don't think it's going to happen in this series, Indiana's not going to win this series, point blank, period. And as far as his future goes, until he learns how to do that, he's not going to continue to rise up. Obviously, he's taken a big step this year. But a lot of people call him a superstar, and I don't agree with that. And reasons why are proof. It isn't my opinion. You could just look basically every other game. He is hard to find. He'll go a first quarter. He doesn't impose his will on the game. Yeah, you want to get others involved. Nembhard and Siakam and Nesmith. And there's a lot of guys. Miles Turner. I get it. You want to have a lot of people involved. But when it comes to this time of the year, there has to be that guy that can step up like a Shea and get you what you need when you need it. And you're just going to clear out in those moments, and you're just going to take it over. He's not there yet, folks. And people like Dan Dakich and other people out there, I just don't get it. All respect to Dan, has a decorated basketball background. But I'm telling you, folks, it is hurting them, absolutely hurting them. Now, he might come out in game 5 now and turn it around again and go 28 and 11. That's where he should basically be almost every game. He's got to be north of 23, 24 points. This 17, 18, it doesn't get it done, folks. And 1 for 7 is just dreadful. Bro, you're not Caitlin Clark. You want to hug. You want to be friends with her after the game. You're both in Indiana, right? She is who she is, and you're in the finals. I get it. Play your game, and it's not shooting three-pointers. Slash, get to the rack, draw fouls, go to the line, get other people involved, and make your mark on the game. Heard him talk the other day, and he says, I'm going to go back, and I'm going to review film, and I'm going to talk with the coaches and see where I can improve. Where you can improve, buddy, is getting involved all the time. Not just in certain moments when you feel like pressing the gas, you go press the gas, and that everybody goes crazy and jumps on the Haley bandwagon. You're not there. Just point blank, you're not there. You've got a lot of room to grow, and it's a maturity thing with you. And you're not first year, 2-3 years in the league. I think this is 6, and it's not even your first team; it's your second. So you want to be the man, you have to step up when the man is supposed to step up, and you're just not doing it on a consistent basis. You're doing it in moments, in pockets, in certain periods of time. But you're in the finals. Wake the hell up. You are in the finals, and every moment you're on the floor. And I think he played 11 minutes of the first quarter yesterday, and he exited out with his first break with 3 points. Can't happen. Michael Jordan made this very clear many years ago. It is not hard to average 20 points in the NBA. It is 2 buckets, two field goals, and a free throw per quarter. 5 per quarter times 4 quarters is 20 points. It's not that difficult. But there is a mental collapse for some of these guys. They don't understand it. There's a Lego building block mentality that you need to have when you're supposed to be the man, and you have to target those. How do I get to 5? How do I get to 6 points a quarter without, let's say, taking away from your team? There is a way to do that. There's a way for a guy with that much talent to get his and let it be stackable over the course of a game. Next thing you know, you're at 12-13 at half. And then you got a full 2 quarters to come back at it. You're basically going to play 10 straight minutes in the third quarter. Taking it, in college, we talk about people who have coached and people who follow basketball understand you do it in 4-minute runs, right? Because you have the 4-minute timeout at 12, 8, 4, and of course, halftime. It's much like that in a quarter. You know how much you're going to play. The rotation is set. So factor that in, Tyrese. So OKC going back home. I'm gonna say it right now without even studying the game and some of the elements of it for Game 5. I'll say it right now. I don't see Indiana winning Game 5. If they have a chance to win another game, it'll be back at home in Game 6 and then go back to OKC in Game 7. I just don't see it, and it's because of him. I'm sorry. It's a team, and they got a lot of guys. That's one of the things that makes them so successful because he can't always carry them. He's just not capable. But, guy, if you look on the screen there, you see 43, Siakam. I think the whole team is basically focused and centered around him. He's really the guy for them. It isn't Halliburton. Honestly, it isn't. Siakam has got a motor that doesn't stop, and he's going to just get up and down. He's going to get up in your face. He's going to get physical. He's going to be aggressive, max effort all the time. And that's a CBA guy, CBA. Listen to me. That's a G League guy that came up and wasn't expected, and then to the Raptors, and then moved around, and now he just wants it more. Can agree, disagree. That's my take on that, and it pains me to see that. All right, so relative to last night's game, let me pop this up here. The free throw disparity. I want you to look at this. And let me see if I'll get that in a larger screen here. One sec. All right, there we go. So the free throw disparity here, you'll look at on the left is OKC's 34-38 for 89.5%. To the right there, look at the free throws, 25 of 33 for 75.8% for Indiana. OKC +4 in free throw points. Now, I'll get to this more in a minute of why free throws is so important to me and why it's always hidden, and people don't realize it because this game has become how many three-pointers can you shoot? How many three-pointers can you make? Can you get a 3 versus the other team's 2? It's absolute, it really kind of gives me a stomach ache. But if you look here on the screen, you'll see Shea, 10 for 10. Jalen Williams, let me pop that back up full screen. Jalen Williams, 11 for 11. Shea, 10 for 10. Chet Holmgren, 6 for 6. Slide over to the right. You'll see Miles Turner did his job, and Halliburton, 6 for 6, and Halliburton, 3 for 3. Tyrese Halliburton, you cannot have 3 free throw attempts in a game. 7 for 15, so he's basically right on the 50% mark, a little bit under. That's actually, very good. 1.7 or 1 for 7 on 3-pointers. That's obviously not very good. And then your 3 for 3 free throws. You can't have 3 free throws, Tyrese. People say Shea's a flopper and he does this and that and this and that. He's 50% from the field overall. 1 for 4, not very good. 25% from 3, but then 10 for 10 from the line. That's 100%. Between their 2 top scorers, Williams and Shea, they are 21 of 21. That is just not, that is not something that you can overlook at all. It's hidden points. They won by 7, 4 of which the difference is right there. But it is the intent. It's the mentality. It's, I'm going to get to the line and I'm going to convert on my free throws. And Shea understands that. And Michael understood that. And Kobe understood that. There's a lot of superstars over the years that understood how it's a mentality. How do I get to the line? I'll show you in a moment. You can see on the left side of the screen there, the do's and don'ts of free throws. I'll pull the graphic up in a minute. Not free, but earned. You see up at the top part. Free throws, this is a terrible name. They're not free. They're earned. Just because you're standing at the line and you're not being defended and there's no one in front of you doesn't mean it's free. You got there because you earned it. And the mentality needs to be as such. You need to earn the right to get to the free throw line to shoot that ball without somebody there guarding you. So again, mentality, 100% mentality all the way. So great segue, obviously, to go into the topic itself. Let me pull up the main screen here. So for me personally, 7-time championship basketball coach, and as a player, I was a 5-time free throw champion. And 3 of those, I traveled around the city of Detroit and the state of Michigan way back in the day. And I competed in free throw contests. It was something I took very, very seriously, shooting in general. And when I first started playing basketball, yeah, I'm old, there was no 3-point line. Until I got into high school, there was a 3-point line. But in grade school, there was no 3-point line. It wasn't even thought of. So I learned how to knock down a 12, 13, 14, 15, 16-foot jumper and do that regularly. And obviously, a free throw line is basically just over 15 feet. I understood it at a young age. My coaches made me understand that at a young age. That is not taught that way, in my opinion, at least not taught enough at the young age. So at the professional level, it's not the mentality that I was just talking about, getting to the line, earning the right to get to the line and go 10 for 10 like Shea or 11 for 11 like Jalen. It's how many 3-pointers can I take? And it's broken. Get to the stripe or the line and make your free throws. So for the young people out there, even the high school, college, even the pro people, y'all can learn something from this. And I'm not here to say that I am or was a pro at any of this, but I understood how to do it. I understood how to coach it. And I understood that I'm looking as a coach for advantages. I'm looking for edges. I'm looking for any strategic advantage that I could find to beat the other team. And one of the ways to do that, there are several, but one of the ways to do that is to get to the free throw line and make a very high percentage and get it to the point where there's more attempts at the free throw line for you and your team than it is for the other team. And then if you're making them, just like OKC had a +4 last night, a lot of times you'll see +6, +7, +9. They're hidden. Nobody sees them. Well, the coaches are talking about it in the background, but as far as the viewer and that, they don't get it. They don't, and a lot of the players don't get it, even though it's talked about. Where is your 7-point advantage? Where's your 8, your 10-point advantage? Even if you have a rough, day or night at the line and you miss more than you should, obviously the more attempts that you have, the greater chance you have for a scoring disparity or a hidden point disparity. So the do's. Find the nail. I mean, it's been around forever, 100 years. Find the nail. It's at the center of the free throw line. Get yourself squared up. Gather yourself. Breathe. Those are basic things, but people forget about them, particularly at the younger level. You'll see it at the pro level. Sometimes they actually take too much time. There's a lot of guys that believe that by me taking so much extra time, that it's going to ensure that I have a greater chance to make it. That's not necessarily true. In my opinion, there's a balance that you have to have. Don't go too fast, but don't go too slow. You still need to play it in rhythm, and you can't overthink it. So gather yourself and breathe. Ignore the noise. And the number one place that you must ignore the noise is right here. It is in your own head. It is not the fans. It is not the bench for the other team. It is not any of that. It is in your own head. It is what maybe you've done in the past that hasn't worked. It's maybe what you did 2 minutes ago in the game because maybe you missed it and you're just thinking and the wheels are turning and it's over and it's over and it's over. and the past is affecting your present. So hone in, focus in on that moment, ignore the noise. It is you, it is the ball, it is the rim, it is that moment, and nothing else matters. And if you learn to do that repetitiously enough, the reps, practice game, the reps, focus on that. Go back to your training. This is I can't tell you how many professional basketball players, and it isn't the highest level guys. It isn't like a Shea. They understand how to repeat the same performance. It's muscle memory. But some of the guys that struggle, Mitchell Robinson, Shaquille O'Neal, there's a lot of guys that it isn't even the same attempt every single time. They don't even have the absolute same attempt. So it's very difficult. If something is changing in each attempt, well, the result is likely going to change. So it is elbow tight, it's bending the knees. And for me, I would always, and I would teach all of my team this, I'm flexing at the knees. All right. I'm coming down, I'm flexing at the knees, and I'm coming up. And as I come up, I'm not leaving the floor. I'm not jumping off the ground. Please don't misunderstand me. But it's a spring motion so that the ball is being released as you spring up. It's getting released. Your elbow is tight. You're snapping your wrist, and you're holding your follow through. Now, everybody knows I can't stand LeBron. He has the worst form, one of the worst forms at the free throw line that you can ever imagine. Where he releases the ball, he actually releases it on the downward trajectory, and he does that in his jump shot too. That's the polar. Now he does it, and he's going to go to the Hall of Fame, so you can't take that away from him. But if you're looking to study a guy, that isn't the guy to study. A guy from the late 90s and the 2000s, if you want to watch somebody, Reggie Miller's one of them. Rip Hamilton is another one of them. There's many, many guys. Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, Chris Jackson, obviously Steph Curry. There's a lot of guys from the past, and there you go, showing my age. But you go to watch these guys, it is the same technique every single time. Every time. And there's a lot of guys, and I'm missing some names, but a lot of guys. So find the nail, gather yourself, breathe, ignore the noise. You're in that moment. It's you, the ball, and the rim alone. No thoughts of anything from the past. Elbow tight, bend knees, release the ball, snap the wrist, and you can't see it because it's under the ticker, but it says follow through. Hold your follow through after that. A lot of people just go like this. Watch Angel Reese. It is mind-boggling that those coaches watch a WNBA player shoot the ball. She's fading backwards basically on every single shot. She does not snap her wrist. She does not hold her follow through. It's a lost art, folks. It's a lost art. It's very simple to do, and it's going to help your performance. And it starts at a young age, and the repetition is developed over time to get it to where it's just like the back of your hand. It's second nature. It's automatic. You're not thinking, you're doing. All right, on the don't side, don't rush, as I said before. Don't get up there and ref bounces you the ball or hands you the ball and you just jack it up. Don't fade back. Please don't fade back. Don't be LeBron James. Angel Reese, watch her on her jump shots, and you see it in practice. It's like there's a video camera on her. The whole world can see how she practices. Her coaches are standing there, and they're watching this happen. And then you can see film that shows her doing the same thing the following week or 2 or 3 weeks later. It's like, are you kidding me? Are you not watching what she's doing? Are you not watching that she's a horrible shooter in the WNBA? And this is part of the reason. Number one, she's not a distant shooter. She thinks she is. She's not. But in this particular instance, I'm talking about this is like a 14-foot jumper, which she barely leaves the floor. It's almost a set shot. If anybody remembers Bill Laimbeer, he barely left the floor on his jump shots, and that's what she's doing. She's fading back. There's no snap. There's no hold of a follow through. There's nothing. So don't fade back. Don't overthink it. I talked about on the do's. Don't overthink it. Don't release on the spring down. As you're coming down from the spring I talked about, don't release it. Don't remember your last miss. That has to be so far from your mind. It cannot be in it. It's a new shot. It's a new moment. It's new everything. So they're not free. They're earned, as I said. Being at the line, being at the stripe, being at the nail, those are all phrases commonly used in basketball. It's undersold, it's underappreciated, it's underutilized, it's underattempted. You could find 80, 70 now. It's almost 60. I think it's 66 is the average NBA three-pointers in a game. It's right around there, give or take one or two. That's a joke. That's an absolute joke. I don't even understand the logic. And I, in addition to being a 5-time three-point or a free throw champion, I was a 3-time three-point champion. So I understand it, but it's just taken so much of the game that sometimes it gets made to be overcomplicated, and the game is actually very, very simple. It can be a lot more simple than it's made out to be. All right, moving on is the I'll go back to here is the Pistons. I don't have a special graphic up for them, but draft time is coming here, and free agency, and it's like there's all sorts of things being thrown out there. Again, Kevin Durant, as I said earlier, people are actually trying. I see all these trade proposals. Yeah, we're going to give. Supposedly they're asking for a instant playoff performer, a young developmental person who can really be, maybe not a star, but a significant producer in the NBA, and 2 first-round draft picks. Why would I give that up on a young burgeoning team that's coming up, that had an incredible year last year, that's building? Why would I go give up all those assets? Which means you're going to give up Jaden Ivey, you're going to give up Osser, you're going to give up one of those guys has to be in the deal. You're going to give up 2 first-round picks when you don't even have one this year, because several years ago you gave it away for the right to move up and take Isaiah Stewart. The same year you took Killian Hayes. I mean, I like Isaiah Stewart. He has a role, but he's not 16, 17 overall, which is where he was selected. I think 17. No, it was 16. Either way, he's not that guy. He's 16, 17. You have to have a major. It isn't a top 5, top 7 pick, but it needs to be a bigger producer. It can't just be a physical body. You're going to look to find that late in the first round, early in the second, or in some form or fashion from a developmental guy coming in through the league, and it's a free agency or it's a trade acquisition. But draft capital. I mean, look at the Lions. And that's not Trajan Langdon's decision, by the way. And by the way, one of the young players that's is being considered to be highly drafted, his last name is Killin, Killin. And I said to somebody on X, please, we're not drafting anybody, first of all, with the name Killin, and it's too close to Killian, okay, which has haunted that franchise. And it's amazing that they made this quick of a turnaround with Trajan Langdon to be this level of production and get to the playoffs and make noise like that. And you can see the growth when Killian Hayes was blown, a top 10 draft pick, like they did for so many years. You could go back historically. They blew so many picks. Don't give away the farm. Talk to Brad Holmes. I mean, Trajan, I got a lot of confidence in him that he won't do something like that. Now, what I would do is I would seriously look at Jonathan Kuminga over at Golden State. There's just Steve Kerr is on some other island. It's called Kerr Island. I don't know what that guy thinks. He's got so much of the Popovich mentality in his coaching style. He doesn't like to play young guys. And then when he's forced to play the young guy like Kuminga, who is just a motor that doesn't stop. He can do a lot of things. And quite frankly, he's been abused in terms of non-development, non-reps. He hasn't gotten the minutes. You need the minutes to get better. And when he had the minutes there at the end of their series, he lit the stat sheet on fire with 30 points. This is the capability this guy has, and you're not utilizing him and giving your team the best chance to win. I mean, that's on Steve Kerr. How he's continuing. He does it over and over and over. You have an aging team. Now, you could say Podetsky, you could say some of the other guys, but you cannot just rely on your 35-year-olds and your 36-year-olds and your 37-year-olds. You got to go to Kuminga. So if I'm the Pistons and I'm Trajan Langdon, that's a guy I have my eye on. High energy guy, young, has some length to him. He can really do some things. Ty Jerome is another guy who's got a great motor. I think he's got a great attitude for the game. He's got a great fire. He's over in Cleveland. He kind of gets lost in the talent that they have over there. That's another guy that you can get. It might require you to lose a guy like Beasley or affect some minutes thereof. Those are a couple of guys that I would certainly target. You know, there was talk too about there's talk here about Miles Turner. I actually did make the graphic, but I don't have it up here, about Miles Turner coming to the Pistons. Miles Turner's a pretty nice player, just finally developed here in the last 3 years, three and a half years. Forever he was talked about being moved as a tradable asset, and then he became a valuable asset, and you wouldn't think of trading him as much as you once did, but it's a financial thing at this point. And there's talk about bringing Miles Turner in and putting him at the 5. How can you put Miles Turner in at the 5 when you have Jalen Duren who can't go to the 4? So if you're going to do that, which I'm not sure that's a good move to do, and why would you put Jalen Duren on the bench with your second unit? I don't quite see that. If you're going to bring him in, you got to put him at the 4 and Duren at the 5, because Turner can stretch the floor and Duren can't stretch the floor. He's an inside guy, rebound, putback, lobs, those types of things. Turner's not a big lob guy. He's got a better perimeter game, and he can shoot the 3 ball and longer distance range. That's an interesting potential acquisition, but how does that affect the chemistry, I think is a significant concern there. So we'll see what they do. I got, again, total faith in Trajan Langdon. No first round pick, so you got to get creative. You have to build. I hate building the team, or really looking to enhance the team through free agency as a primary objective. And I don't think that's what's happening here. Lots of guys on this team that are drafted. You added Tobias, you added Hardaway, you added Beasley, veteran guys to put around drafted guys like Osser and Cade, Ivy. He comes back. We'll see what happens. He might end up being the odd man out here, because he showed what he could do before the injury, and he's a tradable asset that you might have to give up in some of these deals. So we'll see what happens there. All right, moving on to the Lions here. I also didn't put the graphic up there fully, but it looks like, and the Lions are heavily in talks with re-upping Jamison. He is entering his 5th year, which they picked that up. And so he has 1 more year before having to sign a new contract. So they're working on a new deal to retain him and keep him longer term than the 6 years or than the 5 years. And I originally didn't think that they would do that. And so they must see something internally that is showing the maturity of him. Obviously, we know what he can do on the field. He's electrifying. He could take any route or even any type of lateral or reverse and take it to distance. I do think he's increased his route running capability, his catch radius and span. I think that is increasing, and I think it's only going to increase with time. It's just like, can you do it with the money? So I put that up yesterday or the day before, and a friend said to me, no, I talked about Laporta maybe being the odd man out, and the guy said, Andy said, Laporta is a great blocker. Andy, love you, bro, but we can't pay Laporta top tight end money because he's a great blocker. There's guys like Brock Wright and other guys in the league that you can do that if you're looking at it from that standpoint, but it just becomes a dollars and cents thing, and there's not enough to go around when you have a guy like Goff making that money, St. Brown making that money, Gibbs making that money. You have to pay Hutchinson big time money now, 40-45 million a year. The money can only go so far. So if you're going to re-up Jamison, you're going to pay him top wide receiver money to keep a guy with that type of talent, because everyone else is salivating to get somebody like that. Very few guys in the NFL have his ability. Look at guys historically like I'm not saying he's a Randy Moss, but a guy who can get over the top of everybody at any time, Deshaun Jackson's another name that comes to mind. These are not A.J. Brown type of guys. Is not even a Devontae Smith, Waddle. It's Tyreek type of guy, Tyreek Hill type of guy. But Jameson can get over the top of any defense. And the offense is structured in such a way with such heavy play action, and Goff being such a master at the play action and so many other weapons on the field. Laporta, I think he's going to be the odd man out. I really, really do. And I think you'll see them draft or selectively utilize free agency to replace that production, 850 yards, 8 touchdown type of performance. That's nice. That's nice for a tight end. You hate to see that go. But, my buddy Peter, I'll agree with him. He made a great point, 6 months ago when I brought this up, and he said, I'm going to take J-Mo over Laporta 100 times over. Peter was on the show last October. I've come that way. I mean, I really like a guy like Laporta, but I don't think they're going to be able to keep him, folks. But to keep the other guys that you need, to be able to re-sign Hutchinson, guys like Aleem McNeil, lots of talk about Trey Hendrickson still. And boy, I'll talk about that in a minute, even though I don't have it on the schedule for the show. The Cincinnati Bengals, it's just, holy smokes, it's mind-boggling to me. What, just disaster zone. So anyways, I think that's what we're looking at, is Laporta being the odd man out. All right, the Raiders, my number 2 favorite team. I'm going to actually try to do this each week as we lead up to the season. Obviously, September 7th, I think we're 85 days away from the Lions' first game of the year, 84-85. And so I'll be putting together more graphics like this, talk about each team, highlight some guys. I truly think that the Vegas Raiders are going to be the most improved team in 2025. I've talked about Brady a lot. I've talked about Pete Carroll and the bridge, bringing in a 74-year-old guy that chews the hell out of his gum, that has more energy than I do, 20 years younger than him. I don't know how he does it. I don't know what that guy eats, if he's got the Jack LaLanne juicer or what he does. But my man wakes up in the morning, he's ready to attack the day, and he doesn't slow down. Like nothing. I mean, you see no drop. Great football mind. He's the perfect guy for what they got going on. I mean, Brady did it right. What's his name? Oh, my God. His name is escaping me now. Spytek. John Spytek, the GM. What a great, great job. And then you bring a guy in like Geno Smith. You see him on the screen there, number 7 with the ball in his hands. 34-year-old quarterback. Been there, done that. Been in Carroll's system. Jacoby Myers, you see there, bottom left, upper left-hand corner, best tight end in the league. And you could basically consider him a wide receiver with the ability that he has. Brock Bowers, Giante, number 2 there in the middle. Terrific guy defensively. Obviously, Max and others. They're not there yet in terms of competing for a Super Bowl, I don't think. But I'll say it right here. Save this tape, bookmark it, clip it, trim it, whatever you got to do. The Raiders will be in the Super Bowl in 3 seasons. 3 seasons. This one coming up be the first, next year, and then what is that? So we have 25-26, then 26-27, 27-28. The Raiders will be in the Super Bowl. They are built to win. They finally have the proper structure organizationally, all the way from the top down. Mark Davis has been skewered for so many years. He got it right. This is Brady's franchise as it relates to the development of the team, doing it the right way through Spytek all the way down. This is your most improved team coming up this season. Barring any kind of, I always have to qualify it by saying, barring any catastrophic type of injury, obviously to Geno Smith or to other guys. Look at the Lions of last year, what happened, and they still produced. Now, these guys are not nearly as deep as the Lions, but they will be. And this is the team. This is a team to reckon with in the future, without question. So look forward to seeing the Raiders do amazing things this year. All right, the Bengals, which I don't have up here, but let me just say this about the Bengals, and it's as a Lions fan for so long. No one understands it better than a Lions fan who is at or older than my age about how poorly a franchise runs and operates year after year after year. I've talked about this on previous shows. And I just I got to say it again. It is just a shit show over there. First of all, again, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, terrific players. You can't argue that. It's a dynamic trio. I get it. But it's 126 or so, 127 million of a $296 million cap tied up in three guys on offense. Now you have Trey Hendrickson, back-to-back 17 and a half sack seasons. Like, hello, 17 and a half sack seasons. The number one vulnerability and weakness on your team is defense. You go draft Shamar Stewart. You don't have a contract for the guy. You might actually lose him, and he goes back and re-enters the draft for next year. He has the ability to do that. Apparently, Cincinnati snuck something in the contract, and it was noticed by Stewart and his people. And he participated in rookie camp, but he stepped away and he walked away from the team. He really held himself together nicely. If you watch his comments when he was interviewed in front of his locker, really well-spoken guy, highly intellectual. And in this type of moment, it was really interesting to hear him say what he had to say. It's like a 2-minute clip. You could look it up. And mad props to Shamar for the way he handled it. A lot of guys wouldn't handle it this way. And it's like, Mike Brown, what? Like, seriously, what are you doing? You got guys like a lot of people. I ran a poll, and David Tepper was ranked as the worst owner in the NFL. Up there was Mike Brown. Up there was Jimmy Haslam, and I forget who the fourth guy is. Oh, Shad Khan. And all of those are worthy of being up there. Jimmy Haslam just continues to get in his own way. This is a no-win situation with this whole Shedeur thing. I ain't even going to go back there again. Everybody understands the reasons why you play him, and he doesn't do well, and you pull him, you got a problem. You don't play him, you got a problem. It's going to follow them. It's going to follow the team. It's going to haunt them no matter what. That's just my take on it. It hasn't changed. It's the same since before the draft and post-draft. But the Bengals and Mike Brown, I think he's maybe regained the worst owner in the NFL, that you would actually structure your team by paying. And it's not that those guys are not worth that money, but they can't be worth that money on your team when you have other guys up that you can't pay. You think you have somebody on your team that's just going to replace Trey Hendrickson like that? And the weakest part of you looking to win 49-45 or lose 49-45 every game, 38-35, 35-31, because you're going to give up 35, 40 points every game. I mean, you've done that. You did it last year for so many games. You're going to do it again. It doesn't work. And then if Chase gets hurt or Burrow unfortunately gets hurt, then what? You have no depth. You have nothing. Zero. Again, I don't know, it's like a Twilight Zone type of thing that I could tell the whole world that the Detroit Lions are the model franchise to follow. You can look at it last year. The most amount of players on injured reserve in the NFL, and basically 80%, 85% of them was on the defensive end, and it happened early, it happened midseason, it happened late season, it happened in the playoffs, and you go 15-2? Seriously? That's insane. And the only way that you can do that is from the top down. You're organizationally structured and operated the correct way. You have an insane general manager. You have an insane head coach. And then the coordinators and the down line of coaches and the depth with which to operate schematically and strategically to give yourself a chance to win at the highest level, game in and game out. The Lions have become, in my opinion, the blueprint of how to do that. You look at other teams, there's loaded up on the front line. Some guys start to fall, or some guys underperform, underachieve, and then suddenly you have a big problem on your hands. The Cincinnati Bengals are the poster, and I'm involved in lots of texts and graphically doing a lot of things now. And the response from people around the country, it's like people see this, and the Cincinnati Bengals internally, you don't see this. Like, like seriously, you don't see the problems here and what you put yourself into. Like, don't sign T. Higgins to that money. You have to sign Ja'Marr Chase. That just makes all the sense in the world. And I know Burrow wanted wanted that trio. I get it. I understand the reasons why, but it isn't the financially prudent thing to do for your franchise. It's just not. You could get similar production, and somebody, blasted me for this, fine. You can get similar production of a T. Higgins by somebody half the price. Bold statement? I don't think so. It happens around the league all the time. All the time. You have to be able to draft that guy. You have to be able to be sufficient enough in your front office to draft a guy. Like, it's too late now because you re-signed him. But look at what I almost said the Pistons. Look at what the Lions did with Isaac Tesla. They believe that this is a replacement for a St. Brown or a Jameson Williams if you didn't sign him, or it's at least likely somebody that you're continuing to develop up in the ranks. And then one of the greatest problems you can have is how to sign all those guys. And sometimes you don't sign them all. Sometimes they move on. And I'll go back to it again, and I get on this tangent because it is so mind-boggling. It isn't about a window, guys. It's not. Cincinnati in the next year or 2, 3, it's got to start thinking about replacing Joe Burrow. Not replacing him, but what the future looks like without him, and start bringing a guy up in the system. And whatever happens with Burrow, as an example, if you got a guy 2, 3, 4 years, he develops underneath and he really develops into something special, you can move him. I.e. the New England Patriots, when Matt Castle developed under Brady, and he went 11-5. I believe it was 11-5 when Brady went down with the knee injury, and then everybody wanted Matt Castle. And then they traded Matt Castle, got great value in return. The guy never did anything away from after that moment of any significance, and you received capital in return. So this is the way to build your team. It is not to build your team giving 40% of your salary cap and your quarterback and 2 wide receivers. It's like, it just makes me scratch my head. And the Lions right now, I'm sure they've talked with Hendrickson's people, or asked permission, whichever way that had to go, and have tried to every way to try to figure this out. But you're gonna pay Hutchinson about to be $45 million, and per the position and the level at which he plays. Myles Garrett just signed a contract for $40 million a year. Hutchinson, 4 years younger, even coming off the injury, it was a bone. It wasn't a ligament. It was a bone. Those heal. Going to be back to what he was, better. $40 million, $45 million is allocated to him. Hendrickson wanted something like 35, 40. Just the same, you can't put $80 million on your defensive line on each end. Split it up between each end. 45 and 35 is 80. I don't see that happening either. It's up to Trey Hendrickson at this time. Obviously wants to get paid 17.5 back-to-back years. That's no joke. But if you want to win, this is an opportunity to defer some of your money and come to the Lions and win now. They got to do a lot with signing bonus. They got to do a lot to make that work and fit. But Cincinnati's a disaster. What is it with Ohio? Seriously, Jimmy Haslam in Cleveland, Mike Brown in Cincinnati. Like, are you guys, like, Ohio's got a lot of things that they can be proud of. And you just had the national champion in college football. But from a pro football perspective, you guys must be pulling your hair out of your head. And I'm losing mine because I pulled so much out of it as a Lions fan for so many years until I turned it off. And I walked away from the franchise for about 2 years. And then I knew something changed immediately because I follow it so closely. As soon as they hired Brad Holmes after Bob Quinn, I was like, all right, there we go. Because he trained under Les Snead. He was responsible for Aaron Donald. All of those things. I knew that he was a talent seeker and he wasn't going to do dumb shit like Bob Quinn and Patricia. Now, they did a couple of good things. All right. But you can't do a couple of good things and expect to be a, top flight elite winning franchise. The Bengals got Joe Burrow right. They got Ja'Marr Chase right. That doesn't mean you're a winner, right? You've got to be able to do all the other things. I used to tell employees of mine. They're like, yeah, I'm doing this really right. Why are you critiquing me? Yeah, because you're doing that right. And like an NFL team, you got to be good offensively, defensively, and special teams. If you're in a work environment and you do, 3 things well, but you do 4 things below average, okay, awesome. Let's build on the 3, but we need to look at the 4 over here. And it's like, from an organizational perspective, you are a big time franchise. 32 of them exist, and you can't figure this out. It's crazy, crazy. All right, shift into baseball. We're going to go back to Detroit here and talk about Jimmy Leland and AJ Hinch. And I've got some interesting numbers up here. So Jim Leland, obviously Hall of Fame head coach, did it in multiple places, Pittsburgh, the Marlins, Tigers, obviously had a World Series. I did this research, and it really struck me how similar it is for both guys. When Leland took over in 2006, and you remember this, right? Because you lived it and you watched it, and I was excited about it. But when you look back on it, you forget. Time goes by, you forget. He took over 71 and 91 in his first year, 2006, 95 and 67, and you go to the World Series. That's insanity. That is like taking something that's not very good, and you could clearly do something totally different than the people before you and get the results, basically, for the most part, with the same product. 700 wins, 597 losses, overall record with Detroit. As I said, World Series in 06 and 12. He didn't get it done, losing both. 8 seasons with Detroit. Obviously, highly decorated. Do the math there. 700 divided by 8. Basically 90 wins a season. I mean, that's not great, but a couple of down years there, money, the way it was being spent, certain things took place. And then you come over to AJ Hinch, similar in that he won it all with the Astros. He's hired in 2020. It's a shortened season because of COVID. The previous year, 40. No, I did a mistype there. It says 47 and 114. Whew. No, it can't be. I'll double check that. 47 and 114. First of all, that's 161 games, not 62. So I got an error there. But he took over a very, very bad team. And then obviously we know what he did last year. And now you have the first place team in all of Major League Baseball. I believe it's 45 and 25 or 46 and 25 after last night. 353 wins, 366 losses in Detroit, but they just didn't really have anything. And then you look at the differences between both teams and how they were built. So you're talking about Leland, you're talking Verlander, Cabrera, Max Scherzer. You're looking at so many Hall of Fame guys that basically when Leland had them, or at least early on when he had them, everybody knew Miguel Cabrera was a Hall of Famer in 06, 07, 08. Is there anybody on the Tigers right now that you could say is an absolute, right now, this moment, Hall of Famer besides Skubal? I don't know if you can say that. You could say it for Skubal. I mean, we're watching history with this guy. Just incredible. And even when you think about the Tigers too, and you think about guys, this is JV all over again, just from a southpaw. And man, he's got the fire, and I love that about him. He takes it, he wears it on his sleeve, he takes it so seriously. He's going to dominate you, and then he's looking to dominate you more so the next game. I love that about him. Fiery guy, I can't stand it. And nothing against a guy like Greg Maddux, but Greg Maddux was like, dude, you got a pulse? Like there's a tornado next to you and you don't even feel it. You don't even know it. You don't even see it. I mean, Skubal is on fire. So fun to watch. AJ, what he's done with the team, he's just turned it around and he's made them in a short period of time with a young team. Now, Leland's one of the greatest developmental coaches of all time. He did it developing teams. You could say Bonds and Bonilla way back then. You could say that the Marlins were Dombrowski was built with superstar free agents, Sheffield, guys like that. But he did it both ways. AJ Hinch has never really had an all-world team until that Astros team. You could say Altuve, you could say Verlander, you could say a couple of guys, but again, what he's had here in Detroit, these are not Hall of Fame criteria type of people other than Skubal. And so to me, that means even more. And they're going to, he's going to develop some of those guys, that the staff, the organization will develop some guys through the farm and even on the team. You look at guys like Riley Green, has that potential, at Carpenter, obviously Skubal. You've got a number of guys there that can really turn into something. But they've done it the right way. They've done it in a true, pure baseball approach, and I love that about them. They're committed to winning. I think you'll see them do some stuff here at the deadline to get another bat or two, which I believe they need. It's without question the vulnerability that I see on the team. It isn't defensively, it isn't base running, it isn't coaching, it isn't pitching, although losing Job is a problem, but he wasn't even established enough at a high enough level where you say, oh my gosh, this is an irreplaceable guy. They can maneuver and manage that. But it's the ability to consistently bat over and over, game in and game out. And obviously, great pitching and timely hitting is the formula to have won forever. It hasn't changed. It's going to be that way for as long as we live and as long as the game is around. But come playoff time, every pitch, right? It's so locked in. And I worry that they have the guys, that they have a large enough complement right now to make a significant deep run in the playoffs as currently constructed in their batting order. Now they're getting healthy now. Parker Meadows coming back helps. Other guys, it helps a lot. But in the heat of the moment, in the pennant race, in the playoffs, every pitch, right? You're working every count, and you have to deliver in certain moments. I worry about that. But to have guys like Jim Leyland in that moment, even though he didn't win in 06 and 12, which was a huge disappointment, particularly the San Francisco loss just dominated. It's a blessing, really, to look at two guys like that. Now, they had guys in between, but to have two guys like that in a span of, let's see, 14, I think, 2014, 15, Leland's last year, and then within 5 years, you land a guy like A.J. Hinch and Al Avila. I should have put him on the screen. I'm going to keep on saying it. Al Avila, some say, Avila. He deserves so much credit for this Tigers team. There's 5 to 7 guys minimum that he's responsible for, that he put there. But he never, and he hired Hinch. He never had it all put together. But it's legit on his stone, so to say, on his record, that a guy like Skubal, guys like Riley Green, guys like Carpenter, these are Al guys. And I think you always have to look at that and say that he has a ton to do with that. 100% to do with that. Couple more quick thoughts here before I end the show. Today, I'm not going to get into the politics of it, but today is lining up to be a very crazy day around the country. It's the Army's 250th anniversary. Love you guys. Thank you for your service. And it's not just the Army, it's all the armed forces that help protect us. No matter where you're at in the country today, I hope everybody stays safe, does the right thing. Keep your eyes out. There's a lot of places where there's a lot of crazy things going on, and it's already happening, and it's expected to be at a super crazy level. So everybody be safe today, wherever your day takes you. On the PB Mentor side, everybody knows the PB brands, I think now, PB Sports Talk and PB Mentors, PB Sports Talk Show. This is obviously week 37. I missed a few weeks in there, but I still kept the proper count. Lots of great things are happening. Subscriber count up on YouTube, up on X, loving that. Appreciate your support to even get this far and to want to continue to do this. I'm putting more and more time, more and more work into this. And I want to bring a product and information, entertainment, and awareness in all of these different categories with sports. And I wouldn't do that if I wasn't getting the support. So thank you for giving me the continued motivation to want to do this. This is not easy to do. A lot of people think it is. Building content, putting it all together, giving people, it's a very crowded space. Giving people a reason to want to tune into you versus somebody else without being a complete asshole is not easy to do. You need to be able to come with something that's going to want to have people tune in and want them to continue to tune in. And I'm seeing more and more of that develop, and I'm really grateful. It means a lot to me. This is a lifelong dream that has happened for me and to me. And I wanted to do this when I was 19 years old. Obviously, we didn't live in the environment then that we do now, some 35 years later, with social media and the ability to have a microphone and do this pretty much from anywhere in the world at any time. So, but without listeners, without people who follow, without people who comment, without people who share, totally not possible. Before the show, it was 111 subscribers on YouTube. That is going to be, that and X are the platforms that I've decided it's going to have the most relevance to what I do, both on the sports talk side and on the mentor side. The other day I put up a post, I was at like 95. This is 2 days ago. I think it was 95, 96. And I said, man, 5 more and I can get to 100. And now, boom, right past 100, 111. That's small. I mean, you need to have 1,000 subscribers just to monetize on YouTube, and in addition to other things, but you must have the 1,000 subscribers. So I'm only 10% of the way there. I got a lot to go. So I appreciate your support. If you could log on to YouTube at PB Sports Talk, click the subscribe button, click the likes, maybe share my material. I'd really, really appreciate that. On the PB Mentor side, this is really important. People say, what does mentorship have to do with sports? Well, as a 35-year entrepreneur, as a 7-time championship basketball coach, sports and life, in my opinion, go hand in hand. It's meshed together. Attributes in sports come from attributes in life. Attributes in life come from attributes in sports. So in thinking how I could help not just entrepreneurs, but young players, coaches, parents, there's a huge dynamic. It is harder than ever to have a young person in sports today. And quite frankly, it's getting harder. It's not getting easier. There is so much pressure. There is so much politics. There is so much noise. There is so much on social media that a person who's 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, going up the ranks, I mean, their head is spinning off. There's so much overscheduling that's taking place. There's so much pressure to do this versus that. It's part of the reason I got out of coaching, like in terms of in the trenches, so to say, every day on the floor, in the locker room. I loved it. There's certain parts of it that I miss. There are a lot of parts that I don't miss. Being in it every single day. It is a 24/7, basically 24/7, 365. Sports is no longer seasonal, and I'm going to play one sport, and it's just, and as nothing is expected of you in the off season, that's long gone. So a student athlete and the pressures that they have, and to live in our society, in our life today, there's a strain. And I believe we are, as a society, we are undereducated on the right things to do at certain times for certain reasons. Households are not as much a two-family or two-person household as they once were. And I think that's affected a lot. You could see a recent graphic I put up. I'm standing there with the young man in high school, and this is right in the middle of a game, in a timeout, or maybe it was a free throw going on, and I'm talking to the kid. What a great young man, but he didn't have a full household, and he was torn, literally torn every single day in terms of how he should think and how he should act and what he should do, and should he put in effort, and worried about what everybody else is saying. And that picture is 2015. We're in 10 years later, a decade later. Somebody his age, now it's even harder. What are people thinking? What are people saying? Who's living vicariously through my eyes? What do I need to do to succeed in life? This is too much to handle. Should I continue? All of these things are factors. So the PB Mentor side of this is a platform now where you can book and schedule time with me through an app called Minect. And once you download the app, the Minect app, I am an expert on there. My whole profile is there, and you can book/schedule time with me. There's many topics that I cover. Entrepreneurship, mentorship, sports is a huge component of that. So as it relates to maybe you, your son or your daughter, let's say they're 15, undecided. How do I want to get my coach's attention? How can I excel? What is a coach looking for? And it doesn't matter what sport, because believe it or not, it's cookie cutter in terms of what you need to do to be recognized within the format of doing something responsibly and ethically and proper accountability. There's certain things coaches are looking for. And that was 10 years ago. That's now. It'll be 10 years from now. There's a certain way to elevate yourself in terms of your preparation, your performance, attitude, your approach, your academics, how you put it all together, how you communicate, how you articulate, how you work, what type of effort you put into, how do you maintain consistency? Consistency is key. You know, I'm talking about Halliburton earlier. He's come out and looked like the greatest player in the NBA one game, and the next game, you know, he's nowhere to be found. And that's hard to do that every single game at that level. That's obviously a pro type level. People are debating whether he's a star, superstar, Hall of Famer. That's next, totally next level. I get it. But relatively speaking, it's the same at a younger level. Is how do I get from where I am to where I want to be, to where I need to be? If I'm on the bench and I want starter minutes, how do I get there? I can help you with all of that. I was the person who made the decision. People would always say, Coach, who's going to start next week? Hey, I would say this all the time, and I will say this in a mentoring session. The decision was not up to me. The decision was up to the player, and I mean it in this context. What they do day in and day out is going to make the decision for me. Me penciling it into a sheet and giving it to the scorer's table is a formality. You made the decision. Your actions, your efforts, your communication, your leadership or lack thereof, your ability to follow instructions, your ability to implement strategy or game plan, or being a good young man or a good young woman and living what you want each day in and out. There is a strategy to that. There's a technique to that. There's a developmental side to that. You don't just become that. It's, again, just like shooting the ball, it's repetition. The mind, the mental side of it is major repetition over and over and over. And one of the things that I noticed a lot, and I don't really talk about this too much, but it happened a lot. There were a lot of players that I had under my tutelage for 2 hours of a day. And then the other 22 hours of the day, they were getting a completely different message, because there's a tendency to not always have a full buy-in in the coach. It doesn't matter into what the coach is teaching. Sometimes it doesn't even matter if you have a winning product and you have a good moral compass and you have a good strategy for young men or young women, and it's reflecting in performance, it's reflecting in outcome, but the message is different for 22 hours or 21 hours or 23 hours, whatever. For me, it was always a two-hour practice. And it's the minute they got dropped off, they're and under my tutelage, under my supervision, and then the minute they were picked up, it changed. I'm going to teach you how to overcome some of that. I'm going to teach the parents how to buy into what the coach is saying, even if on some levels you disagree. Now, there's some things that you might see that's happening with your kid that are wrong, and those should be addressed. But in terms of who's the coach and who's not, you're not. And there's a reason for that. And that might sound harsh, but there's too much of that going on. There's too much of do this, do that. There's too much of these guys, these parents getting involved with referees and the way the game is officiated. And it's really in any sport. It's hockey. You see fights, you see punching, you see taunting, you see stalking. It's insanity, absolute insanity. So there's the player aspect of that. And how do I deal with all this going on? There's the coach's perspective. And I lived it, guys and gals. And there's a lot of phenomenal female coaches out there. And they should be applauded. There's so much for us to manage, right? We're in control of the now and of the next, of every player, of every game, of every outcome, of the organization, of the athletic department. So much we're representing, and there's a lot to manage, and it's not easy. Not easy for the player. It's not easy for the coach, and it's not easy for the parent. Athletic directors, that's a whole nother level, because it's just all Legos, and it's all parts to a successful organization. And there's a lot that needs to happen in order for those to work in concert with one another. So on the mentor side, I'm helping players, coaches, and parents to navigate everything relative to each of the three: the player, the coach, and the parent. So download the Minnect app today. You can schedule me for just $15 at start. So you can then pick whatever you want to do. There's 3 ways to do it. You can text me and receive a text or an audio response. You can text and get a video response, or you can select the opportunity to meet with me one-on-one virtually on a screen in a video format and cover all sorts of different things. They're 15-minute increments, and you can choose it. You want to do it once? Want to do it 5 times? Whatever it is, your son or daughter's worth it. As coaches, what you guys and gals go through, it's worth it. As a parent, what you go through and making the right decision is worth it. I lived it. I breathed it. I don't have children, but I sure coached basically about 1,000 total between camps and players, near 1,000, maybe not quite 1,000, but near 1,000. I've seen a lot of things. Obviously, I played the game for a very long time. I study it. I study the greatest coaches' minds in the world. It's part of what I do. So I have a lot to offer, and I would love to be able to help you if given the opportunity. pbmentors.com. You can find me there. pbmentors.com and pbsportstalk.com, pbsportstalk.com are involved in the same website. It's a little bit underdeveloped. That'll be happening now as we go. But again, download the Minnect app, expert.minnect.com/@Paul Burkhardt, or just download the app and search in the search bar for @Paul Burkhardt. You can schedule the time, whatever works for you. It's all right there. Very easy to do. It's an incredible app, owned by one of the greatest mentors in the world. And if you've seen my Wall of Fame boards, Patrick Bet-David owns the app. It's very safe. It's very secure. And it's a great opportunity to get from where you are to where you need to be. So with all that being said, everybody have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Enjoy it. Be safe. Remember, I say it every week. I'll say it again. Life is truly short. Hug someone, hold someone, love someone. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye now.